Okay, this is a Sanyo Plus 75. This is, of course, their Plus series. I just got done doing repairs on this one. It's not back together yet. You see the top and bottom are still off. I put the bench cookies there so I can make sure there's good air circulation around it, because I've been driving this thing pretty much full power just to give it a good run through, make sure she's working. So this one, the customer got off eBay, so this is not mine. Matter of fact, it's for the same customer that the previous video I did on the same series. He had a Sanyo Plus 130, so this is another one for him. This is a Plus 75. Only real difference, even cosmetic-wise, is the 75 is rated for 75 watts, and the Plus 130 is rated for 130 watts. Pretty much all of everything I went over with the controls on the Plus 130, pretty much exactly the same on this one. You can see the controls pretty much duplicated, with the exception of there are two buttons missing here. The one button that's missing here is the FM de-emphasis, and it has that. It's just, I get a light here, not sure if you can see in the shadow back here, but it's right there. And the other missing switch is one that would be right here, is for the signal meter, and in the Plus 130 it can be set to either signal meter or multipath. So, but like I say, otherwise controls are basically exactly the same. Has the same, the indicator, and I'll show that after I show it on the amplifier analyzer. Because right now I have it hooked up to the signal generator here. You can see it's on channel FM 87.5, and signal generator is set to 87.5 megahertz. It's being fed a 50 dBu signal, and 75 kilohertz is the deviation. It's just loosely coupled. Like I said, I'm just running it for the Syncor amplifier analyzer, so it's just loosely coupled through this 0.1 microfarad capacitor. So it's hooked up currently to a set of speakers and to the amplifier analyzer. Once I turn the volume up, I'll turn the speakers off so I don't blow my bench speakers. So it's being fed you can see there, a 1 kilohertz. It's being modulated with 1 kilohertz. So turn the speakers off. We can go over here to the amplifier analyzer. It's set to auto range, so the meters, right now they're reading in this bottom scale, goes from 0 to 25 watts, and that's times 1, so it's actual rating. And then once the power gets up high enough, you'll see it will automatically switch over to the 10 times scale, so down here will be times 10, and it's set in RMS watts, with no filters. You see the power going up. About 5 watts. 15, 20, 25. They've kicked down. So now it's reading, like I say, now it's in the 10 times scale. There's 50 watts. And this will go well over 75. Of course, so it gets, I'd say, right around 90 watts. Now, of course, turn the volume back down. Of course, they're rated 75 watts. That's into 8 ohms, but that's 75 watts with no more than 0.03% harmonic distortion. So, like I say, that rating is within that keeping with the low distortion. Once you get up above 75 watts, then your harmonic distortion is going to go up also. But internally different from the Plus 130, of course, it had the Freon-filled Kohler for the, amplifier transistor. Had one here, one over here, where this one uses a single, very large, heavy-duty aluminum heatsink, and where the Plus 130 has a pair of transformers mounted in the middle, this one has a single transformer. It's solid as a rock. It's a potted transformer, so you don't have to worry about, there, of course you can see by the logo, it's actually a Mitsubishi who made the transformer. So, good transformers. Like I say, they're potted, they're solid as a rock. Now, the big difference in the amplifier circuit, at least what they use for amplifier transistors, between this plus 75 and the plus 130s is where the plus 130s used pairs of individual transistors. The plus 75s use amplifier modules. So up here at the parts cabinets, I've got drawers full of these damn things. That was the newer style. Yeah, so basically what it has for the amplifiers are a pair. Now it's not no, it's not this model number. There's 70s in this. But that's what's mounted to the flashlight here again. Down in there is little circuit boards you see. You see the terminals work right back against the heatsink. There are all the terminals sticking up. So it's actually basically little amplifier modules like this are mounted down in there. So it runs two of these, one for each channel, one for the left channel and one for the right channel. And it uses, and these are Darlington pairs, but it just, like I say, it uses these instead of individual transistors. I guess there's benefits and, disadvantages to either or. Nice thing about these are it's all in one nice aluminum transfer plate on the back. Of course, these will cost more if they ever go bad, but if you're not running your stereo at full blast, distorted all the time, they'll probably last you your lifetime. It's already probably last somebody a good part of their lifetime. Now, when I received this stereo, it had basically nothing. It had absolutely no reception. The dial wouldn't come on. It had the tuner circuit was completely dead. In auxiliary mode, if you fed it, I had it hooked up to an iPod through the auxiliary mode, it had no left channel and very distorted right channel. That ended up being a bunch of bad electrolytic capacitors, some transistors, and diodes. So here's actually some of the caps. You can see they're dried out and cracked. If you look across some of these, get it to focus on them or not. Come on, focus, little guy. You can see the top. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. You can see how they're swelled up, some of these. And then, like I say, some of these other ones here. The bottom of that one on the left, that's hard as a rock. You can see how this one's all puffed out. These two here were actually shorted completely. Two transistors. Both of those being two SD 325s. One of those is on a little separate heatsink down on the power supply board, and then the other one was replaced is right down in here. If you look down in there, you can see the head of it sticking up, and that's for the wrong module. For this module here, and that of course feeds through this cable, feeds your display. So it was the one that was down on the power supply board that's the low voltage regulator circuit for basically all the tuner circuit and everything. When that one got replaced, brought the tuner back, but then the counter was on. Like I say, it replaced the transistor on here, but it was also not reading correctly. It displayed AM, but FM had I think it read, if I remember right, low end of the band, but when you tuned it, it didn't move. So it was stayed lock. It wasn't reading properly. Replaced the rest of the caps. All the capacitor has been changed in that. And a couple down in the FM modulator, the flashlight again. If you look down in there, you can see it's an LA 3350 IC chip right there. And all the electrolytic capacitors, all of them around that have been replaced. They're little small guys. They're like 0.22, 0.33, and 0.47 microfarad ones. So, but it's back up and running now. So, like I say, just wanted to show they actually, unlike your cheap stereos, I guess you could say, where they'll have. I've seen some of these amplifiers, especially some of this modern crap that pardon my French, as they say, but some of this modern crap that comes from China, they're just outright lying to you. They'll tell you, oh, it's a 1,000 watt or a 500 watt stereo receiver, and you can stick it on an amplifier analyzer like that over there. And I've honestly had some of those things. They'll tell you it's a 500, 600 watt per channel amplifier, and they're lucky if they can do 25 without, catching on fire, letting the smoke out. These, on the other hand, because this was Sanyo's top of the line receiver, when they rated something, like I say, it's underrated, because you can clearly see it does well over 75 watts. It does a little over 90 watts, doing like around 90, 95 watts. And they rated it at 75. But they're being honest. That's, like I say, it's a high-end stereo, so it's rated 75 watts at very low distortion. So, you get what you pay for. And that's why a lot of people like the older stereos, especially the higher-end models. So, like I say, just want to do a quick video, show some of the parts. Oh, and the diodes here, those are Zener diodes anytime, because each of these has a Zener diode also in the exact same circuit for both of those regulator transistors. I always change these. Actually, one of them was bad, the other one was okay, but anytime I change those transistors, I replace these, because these are half-watt Zener diodes, and I always replace them with 1-watt Zener diodes. So, no, should never have any problems with those again. And, oh, yeah, I guess now that we're done, listening to it, like I say, there you can, still hooked up to the signal generator. But, oh, matter of fact, I'll just disconnect that, and you can listen to the signal generator off. And so, there you go. Like I say, just a quick overview. I mainly wanted to show some of the differences between this and the Plus 130, so there you go. Get this one, finish up the alignment on this, and get her put back together for the customer.